Hey yo, it's Brian here. Today, gonna be talking about the San Francisco 49ers. As always, not doing a top 3 video. This time, predicting the 53-man roster I think is gonna happen for this Saturday. The deadline is gonna be that day, 4 p.m. Eastern time. So, a lot of decisions for the Niners. I think I have a pretty good idea on who's gonna make this team. If I'm right, then I feel smart. If not, then I feel dumb. So, yeah, I'm gonna be talking about that. Every single position from quarterback all the way to special teams. Should be a fun time. Hope you guys do enjoy this video. Before I get this video started, please like and subscribe to support my channel. That is going to help me out a lot. If you're new to my channel, subscribe. That is going to help me out as well. Share this content with fellow Niner faithfuls or just football fans in general that love or hate the Niners, whatever. That's going to help me out as well. All right, let's just get into it. 53-man roster predictions. So some of them are going to be very fast. Some of them I'm going to be doing a little bit of explaining, but let's just see what it takes us to. This is kind of unscripted. I do have my list right here on paper, so it's going to be a little bit easier for me to pick who's going to be who for this 53-man roster. And yeah, let me know if you agree or disagree with me. Let's do it. All right, quarterback position, pretty simple. Jimmy Garoppolo, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullins. So that's 3 guys right there. Didn't want to put CJ on this list, but, you know, with the whole injury problem that we had for the past couple of years, you have to keep 3 quarterbacks this time. Last year, they were able to get away with 2 quarterbacks with just Beathard and Jimmy. But since both of them got hurt last year, we had to put in Nick, and Nick has done a fantastic job last year and this year as well for the preseasons. Definitely 3 quarterbacks right there. So that's 3 out of 53. Running back position, this was kind of difficult just because Jeff Wilson was on this. I don't know if I was supposed to keep him or not. So, you know, I want to keep him, but it's really limited spot for this 53-man roster. But for right now, going to have Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, Tevin Coleman, Jarrett McKinnon, and fullback Kyle Juszczyk. McKinnon, I don't know what they're going to do with him. He hasn't played anything yet for football. He's still been out. He had an ejection, I think, during training camp and what have you. So he has not taken the field yet for the 49ers this year in 2019. We'll love to keep Wilson, but McKinnon, they did spend a lot of money on him. I'm pretty sure they want to get their dividends worth on his versatility, and that's why they signed him in the first place from Minnesota, was for him to run the ball and catch the ball in the backfield. Although we do have Coleman and Breida that could do a pretty good job on that as well, but I think they are more favoring McKinnon. So Wilson, I have to leave him out, unfortunately, although he could make the practice squad or just sign with another team because he's a very talented dude. Had a great preseason showing. I know I just talked about this guy showing his worth in the preseason on my last video, but with a very limited roster spot, it's kind of hard to keep him. I would love to keep him, but it's up to the coaching staff. But I think these 5 guys, they're going to be the whole running back rotation right here, and it's a pretty good one, I would say. And include Kyle Juszczyk, he can do a lot of things as well in the fullback position. So that's about, let me see, 3, 5, 7, 8 people right now on the 53-man roster. Quarterbacks, running backs are completed. Wide receivers, I got Jalen Hurd, Deebo Samuel, rookie guys, shown very well in the preseason and in practice. So, I mean, that's a pretty obvious investment. 2nd, 3rd round picks. You don't cut those guys for no reason. Goodwin, Jordan Matthews, he's been showing up recently. Didn't have him early on in my wide receiver cut, start, and bench series, but Matthews, he's been impressing the coaching staff, and he's been doing a pretty good job, I would say, for this offseason program. So you definitely got to keep him. Also, we need another big receiver like Hurd, so that definitely helps us out a lot. Richie James, going to keep him on this because he definitely deserves a spot. I mean, the guy that has made the most of his opportunities in this whole preseason / training camp session. A lot of people wanted him on this roster, but he was outside looking in a little bit beforehand. But after this whole offseason programs with this preseason session, I mean, he has to be on this. He's a very dynamic guy. Special team guys as well. I mean, you got to keep this guy. Trent Taylor, I'm keeping him as well. Although injury history, I am a little bit concerned. I mean, he's a very talented dude. Him and Jimmy Garoppolo were very, very tight with each other in 2017 along with Goodwin, but just he hasn't been available. That's the only problem, but I'm pretty sure Shanahan and Jimmy are big fans of his, so he's definitely going to be on this roster. And finally, Dante Pettis, he's been struggling a little bit in this whole preseason period, but it's good to struggle now. And in the regular season, if you can go off like he did last year in 2018 as a rookie, then all would be good. So hopefully him and other guys that are coming in their second year, they don't have a sophomore slump like the 2017 draft class. So, you know, that's what I'm hoping for. So, wide receivers, 7 guys. I don't know what that is total, but I'm going to keep these guys so far. Tight ends, a little bit difficult, wanting to keep 3, but I only have 2 spots available because we have so much help on the running back / wide receiver position. I had to only cut to 2. George Kittle, the obvious one. He's, you know, the best tight end in the NFL, along with Travis Kelce and Zach Ertz for the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, that's an obvious right there. I had to pick between Caden Smith and Levine Tolololo. Love me some Caden Smith. I mean, he hasn't been showing too much yet. I think he's just learning the offense as a rookie, but For me personally, I want to keep him on this, but I'm going to be putting Levine Toilolo on this because he has a history with Kyle Shanahan when they were in Atlanta together. Also, he could do some blocking. We do need some extra blockers to help our offensive line. They're good, but sometimes they can be very inconsistent. So, with the more skill set, the more versatility, you got to keep him. Smith, you could probably put him on the practice squad just for right now, I think, and we'll see if they sign him eventually. But for right now, going to have Kittle and Levine Toilolo as the tight ends. Although my start benching cut series, I had 3 tight ends, but I'm going to just keep these 2 for right now. Offensive line, I don't know if it's obvious, but going to be naming the guys right now. Joe Staley, obviously, Pro Bowler. Everything is good with him, although he's been struggling just a little bit this preseason, but maybe he's not at full strength. He's not really using 100% of his power because what's the point of wasting your power and energy on the preseason? I think he's going to be a lot better in the regular season. We saw Bradley Chubb and I think Frank Clark against him, and he didn't look really good, but am I worried? Not too much. If it was during the regular season, I'd be very worried. But so far, it's just preseason. Maybe he's just not being 100% because he doesn't need to be. Mike McGlinchey, obviously, on the other side of the tackle position. Lincoln Tomlinson, Mike Person, Winston Richburg, he has to definitely show up this year. They paid a lot of money from him when he became a free agent, I think a year or 2 with the New York Giants. So hopefully we get our investments worth with him. Ben Garland, he's been showing up this preseason period, so I think he deserves a spot. I put Justin School on this list. He's the rookie from Vanderbilt University. I think a 6th rounder. Going to give him a little bit of upside, a lot of promise. So got to have some young blood on this whole team right here. And I think School would be perfect for this offensive line for more depth. And Sam Young, I think he's from the Miami Dolphins or something like that. He's a 10-year pro in the league, so a lot of experience right there. I think that helps out definitely. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8 guys on the offensive line. I think that's 25 guys on this offense out of 53-man roster. So it's almost halfway there. So offense is out of the way. Defensive line, let's go to them. A little bit interesting, but some obvious ones. Nick Bosa, D Ford, investment guys, you got to have them. DeForest Buckner, he's a beast. Kentavious Street, he has a lot of upside. He's been doing really well in the preseason. I think he's going to do very well in this whole 2019 campaign. Sheldon Day, I'm a big fan of. Solomon Thomas, I think he has a little bit of upside. He's been doing okay for this preseason. He's getting a little bit better, and hopefully he can keep it up during the regular season. Eric Armstead, he's been doing okay as well in the preseason. Not the biggest fan of his, but, if he can do well for the preseason period and lead it to the regular season, then I'm fine with that. Ronald Blair, I'm a fan of his as well. And I had to lower it down between Julian Taylor and Demontre Moore. I talked about Moore yesterday or a day or 2 ago, talking about how he's been using the preseason as an opportunity. And Taylor, I love him. I'm a fan of his, so I had to pick one of these guys. Oh, man, who do I pick? I probably pick Moore. I like Moore. I think we should have some more new talent, to be honest with you. Taylor, I want to keep him, but, with the roster size being low, I think we should give it to a guy that has the hot hand and has been doing really well in the preseason. So I'm going to give it to Demontre Moore. And Taylor, unfortunately, I got to put him on the practice squad or just cut him or whatever, waiver wire, however that works. So, it sucked, but hey, it is the business, and that's what you got to do. So Moore is the last guy I'm going to be putting on the defensive line. That's about 9 guys on the D-line. Linebackers, this was pretty easy since Malcolm Smith got cut by the 49ers. I'll talk about that probably on my news video coming out on Thursday. I got Kwan Alexander, Fred Warner, Drake Greenlaw. Those are the starters. Mark Minocha, Al Jazeera. He's been doing really well in the preseason. I think he deserves a spot. And one more spot, it's either Elijah Lee or David Mayo. I'd probably keep David Mayo just because of the fact he's more healthy. I think Lee is coming off of a finger injury or something like that, so that doesn't really help out a lot if you're not available. But I do love me some Lee. I think he did a really good job for the past year or 2. He definitely outplayed Malcolm Smith for the linebacker position. Was it Sam or weak side? I think it was a whatever linebacker position, but definitely going to be keeping Mayo, and he also can play special teams as well, so a little bit more versatility. Kyle would probably give the edge to somebody that could do more than just whatever you can do. So Alexander, Warner, Greenlaw, Minoja, Al Jazeera, and Mayo, those are the guys. That's about 6 linebackers right there. Defensive backs, pretty interesting right here. I had to pick 10 of them. Some obvious ones: Richard Sherman, that's one. Akella Witherspoon, Jason Verrett, Tavarius Moore. Moore has been impressive so far for this practice/preseason session. Marcel Harris, he's a raw talent. I think he can expand even more from his rookie season last year to be even better this year. Jaquaski Tart, he's a reliable guy. He's always on the field. Emmanuel Mosley, he's making the most of his opportunities during the preseason. Jimmy Ward, unfortunately, I don't want to keep him, but they signed him to a 5-year deal, or a 1-year, $5 million deal, I'm sorry. And, they're a big fan of his for whatever reason, so we got to keep him as our free safety spot. I think Ward's going to be the starter, but Ward, depends on what they want to do with him. They say he's the best defensive back out of everyone in this group, but hey, I kind of disagree with them, but they know more football than me, so I gotta take their word for it, kind of. And I got Kawhi Williams, he's a nice nickelback cornerback, and DJ Reed, he's a nice raw talent as well. So that's 10 guys right there. I wanted to keep guys like Anton Exum, but just don't have enough spots. And plus, I have a lot of safeties right here. I don't really need too many safeties. I need more cornerbacks to be on this roster, so I think that's enough for the whole defensive back position. Exum, big fan of his as well. He had that nice pick six against Phillip Rivers, nice coverage guy, but hey, I don't have enough roster spots, so got to keep him on this, keep him out of this list. Unfortunately, maybe practice squad or go to another team, but for right now, I don't have him on this roster. And special teams, obviously, you got Robbie Gould, Mitch Wisnowski, and Hulba. Those are the three obvious guys, and those are the only guys on the roster for special teams and what have you. So yeah, 53-man roster right here. I think I have 25 guys on the offense and 28 guys on the defense. I think this is a perfect mix of both starters like Bosa, Jimmy Garoppolo, Hurts, Samuel, Staley, and them, and a good mix of depth as well for this team this year. And I think that's what is really standing out for me personally on this whole roster spot. I think a lot of these guys, they have a lot to prove. You have like people like Jason Verrett, Jimmy Ward as well, Solomon Thomas. They have something to prove on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, you got Marquise Goodwin, Jordan Matthews, guys like that. They have something to prove as well, because Goodwin, I'm a big fan of his. I love his speed. I love his being able to get out of the outside and what have you, but he's just been banged up, and I don't know, it's been a little bit of a struggle for him coming back somewhat in this whole preseason period, but I think he's going to do really well in 2019, assuming everyone stays healthy, because that is the biggest thing we need to worry about for this whole regular season part of 2019 is everyone staying healthy. But if they can stay healthy, if Garoppolo can do his thing as quarterback, if the defensive line can do their job and just get to the quarterback, pressure the quarterback as much as possible, stuff the run, defensive backs, they don't get burned or anything like that like last year, then I think that's a pretty good thing as well. Also, Adrian Colbert, I don't think he's going to be making this roster as well. Pretty disappointing to say. I'm a big fan of his as well, but he's just been struggling, to be honest with you. Last year he was struggling. This year he's kind of struggling as well, and that whole outburst that he had, I think against the Broncos getting ejected, that doesn't help his case as well. So I do not have him on this roster, although I still love him, but hey, can't make the roster because we have too little spots of 53 man for this team. So yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. I'm going to end this video right here. This is just predictions, my opinion. So if you agree with me, that's great. If you disagree with me, tell me why, and what minor changes would you make to my whole roster period right here. Please let me know what you guys have. I like to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below. If you guys like this, please like and subscribe to support my channel. That is going to help me out a lot. I'll be catching you guys up tomorrow for News Thursday. I'll see y'all then. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Go Niners all day.